If you're a veteran over 35 and you're starting to feel stiffer, weaker, or worried about your bone health, especially if osteoporosis runs in your family, you're not alone. The truth is, an estimated about 200,000 to 400,000 veterans suffer from osteoporosis, and many don't even know it until it's too late. Today's video, I'm going to break down 3 essential steps I recommend to my clients to build stronger bones, stay active, and avoid bone fractures without relying on pills for like osteoporosis or its risky side effects. So I'm Dr. Peralta, physical therapist, exercise physiologist, run coach, and also Marine veteran. Over the past 10 years, I've helped hundreds of clients, many of them veterans, rehab injuries, overcome pain, and build strength safely. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what I tell my veteran clients who want to reduce the risk of osteoporosis, feel stronger, and stay independent at any age. I'm going to break down the 3 parts from a well-rounded approach to improving bone strength. So 1 is strength training, 2 is aerobic cardio training, and 3, balance and flexibility work. And if you want to stay pain-free while getting stronger, more flexible, maybe you're into running, check out the link in the description for my free training on running pain-free and building strength after 35, especially for vets. So what is osteoporosis? Let's take 30 seconds to understand this. Osteoporosis is a condition where the bones become weak and brittle. So essentially, if you look at the bone, it starts forming little holes in it because the rate of bone loss is greater than the rate of like bone growth, making that bone more prone to fracture, especially in the spine, the hips, the wrists. It's called the silent disease because you often don't know you have it until you break something. And while it's more common in women, men, especially aging veterans, are not exempt. Especially for risk factors, those who smoke a lot or drink a lot also tend to weaken their bones as they age. So the first thing that everyone should do if you're trying to decrease the risk of osteoporosis or fractures is strength training. That's going to be your number 1 tool. So hands down, this is the best way to build bone strength. Why bones respond to load, and resistance training creates that stress, that load that tells your body to reinforce them, to build the body up. Not only does it build muscle strength, it also builds bone strength. So start simple. If you're like complete beginner, you can start with body weight squats, so an exercise called sit to stands, or essentially chair or box squats. And then you go to like freestanding squats, build up to that. And then you could progress, do like lunges, and then use dumbbells. You start using small increments of dumbbells and going heavier and heavier, like a percentage of your body weight. And then as you get more advanced, you can even use barbells as well. Actually, I do like barbells because you tend to lift more with barbells than you can with dumbbells. So with the barbell lift, I tell them first start with body weight, but then can you body weight squat, doing, let's say, a barbell squat, let's say 150 pounds, can you body weight squat 150 pounds? It's a good target to hit. And then as you get more advanced, if you're a woman, let's say 1.25 times your body weight. If you're a man, 1.5 times your body weight or more. So if a 150-pound man, that might be going to 1.5 times, would be 225-pound back squat for, let's say, at least a 1 RM or even 3 RM. And then strength train, once you get your baselines, your strength, you're getting more advanced. Try to strength train, be consistent 2 to 3 times per week. You do full body routine, you can do split routines, but essentially you want to use weights that are heavy enough, so about 80% of your 1 rep max. All right, and then doing sets, for example, 8 to 12 reps. You could do single sets or multiple sets, but the key thing is the load. If it's way too light, if it's like way too easy, you're not going to strengthen the bone, right? If you're just doing body weight squats, you never progressed past that stage, right? You don't start adding weights or adding load, you're not going to really challenge the bone. So you really have to do high intensity strength training where actually loading up the bone, adding heavier weights to load up the bone. And then obviously you also do power training as well. So not only can you do barbell squats, but you can also do box jumps or squat jumps or drop jumps where you're standing on a box and then you hop off the box because now you're adding more impact loading through the bones as part of power training. And you obviously can do power cleans, clean and press, different types of kind of jumping movements with weights in your hands because that's also impact loading. So that could be, but that shouldn't be the main thing. It should be combined with your traditional strength training that I just described. That's step number 2, aerobic training. See, aerobic training alone won't necessarily build bone unless you're very deconditioned, right? That walking is very challenging for you, but most people could do walking. It's pretty easy. And for most people, walking is just very low impact, low stress on the body. But you can combine it with strength training, and strength training is the real powerhouse. But like I mentioned, that all cardio is created equal. So low impact exercise, walking or swimming or biking could be good for the heart and lungs, but they're not necessarily great for bone because you're not doing impact loading. It's low impact. But high impact exercise like running, sprinting, jumping, that's much better for bone density. So, for example, you could jump rope. It's great exercises. Both it's cardio and it's high impact, right? You're jumping, you're loading the bone. You could do double leg hop, single leg hopping, different types of jumping, jump rope exercise, or even jumping exercises. And then running, obviously, running is high impact as well. Running is 2 to 3 times body weight. Sprinting is even actually 4 to 5 times body weight. So if you could tolerate, now if you're a complete beginner, you might be only able to tolerate jogging or running, right? Easy running. But as you get more advanced, you could tolerate it. Then you obviously could do sprinting as well. But if you already have osteoporosis, you may have to be careful because that might be just too much stress on your body. Might not be able to jump or do sprinting if you already have osteoporosis. Maybe you're 7 years old. That might be way too much load on your body. So then, yes, you're going to have to stick with walking, maybe progress to jogging over time as your bones get stronger, but you may just have to start with just do walking and strength training. But if you're a bit younger, maybe you're 40s and you don't already have other health conditions that are putting you at risk for fracture, then yes, you could jump into running, run-walk programs. So what I typically recommend people do is 4 to 5 days per week of cardio, and 2 or 3 of those days should be high impact options like running, jump rope, or sprinting. So maybe one day sprinting, another day of like a tempo running, like 20, 30 minutes of just continuous like tempo run or threshold running, and another day long run, or you do run walk. There's different ways to mix it up. And then maybe another day or another week, maybe do jump roping as your cardio for one of the days. And another day you might do jumping drills off a box plus walking or sprints or leg dragging. There's so many different ways to mix up cardio. And it doesn't always have to be high impact. It can be high impact and low impact. For example, run, then walk interval. As your body gets stronger, it gets more used to running if you're brand new to running. So start with 20-minute sessions and then work up to 30 to 60 minutes. And then I'm a big fan of run walking because you could mix it up days you run, days you walk, or days you run and walk on the same intervals, right? And then obviously do that. Try to aim for 5 times a week of various combinations of that, so you get 150 minutes a week of cardio aerobic endurance. And if your goal is weight loss, you could up to 300 minutes would be like an hour 5 days a week for weight loss. Again, if you already have osteoporosis, obviously consult with a healthcare professional to get guidance, because you don't want to jump into it and put yourself at too much risk. You always want to do it in a supervised manner if you already have osteoporosis, so you could have some guidance there. Step number 3, balance and flexibility. So this is going to help fall-proof your body. So a lot of times people, as they get older, are more at risk for falls, which put them at risk for fracture. So balance and flexibility don't directly build bone strength, but they're critical for reducing fall and fracture risk, right? Balance, less falls, fewer breaks in the bone, and flexibility, better posture, alignment, and movement quality, right? Sometimes people as they start getting older, they start slouching and hunching forward, right? They start slouching, hunching forward. That puts more risk for like spine fracture. But if you start doing flexibility training, open up your spine, stretch out the back, boom, right? Do some lumbar thoracic extension exercises, even hip extension exercise, because oftentimes people with tight hips also have a risk for low back issues. Open up the hips, open up the back. So you go from a slouch position to more upright. That actually helps improve. Again, it's not going to directly impact your bone density, but the flexibility is going to lead to better posture and alignment. And then when you do your strength exercise, you could have better form, also lower your risk of injuries as well. So for balance, balance could be simply a simple one. You could take up classes. If you want to mix it up, you could do Tai Chi. It's a good balance activity to do. But if you don't want to do all that, you could just simply practice standing on one leg, maybe while you put on a shoe on one leg, right? It takes 30 to 60 seconds for each foot, or just count there standing on one leg or one leg while you're brushing your teeth. Another one is walking heel toe in a straight line, tandem walking or tightrope walking or slack line walking if you want to mix it up. Balance exercise, this could be done daily or every other day. Flexibility work, just mentioned this just briefly, hip flexor stretches, spine mobility drills, I'm a big fan of thoracic extension, lumbar extension. Hold these stretches 30 to 60 seconds, aim for 90 to 120 seconds, or even up to 3 minutes if you're very tight. Some people are super tight, might need it takes 5 minutes per tight area. But regardless, you want to stretch out your major stiff areas, do that on a daily basis. It shouldn't take too long. If you're short on time, even just 2 or 3 minutes is fine. Like 2 minutes is fine, or even 1 minute is better than nothing. Do that stretching daily, or at the very least 3 times a week. Or if you want to do it as part of a bigger routine, maybe do yoga, like a yoga routine 2 or 3 days a week, that's fine as well. But even again, just a short 5 minutes of combined flexibility and balance work daily can help. So I've worked with multiple people, including veterans who are afraid to lift heavy or jump due to maybe they've been shown to have osteopenia. They're already starting to develop osteoporosis. But once we slowly built them up, right, started with just like body weight exercises, then progressed to adding load, dumbbells, kettlebells, barbells, balance work, and even using vibration platform, because a lot of people don't know vibration. There's like a type of platform they use for balance, but also the vibration can help stimulate bone growth. That not only felt stronger, they when they had repeated bone DEXA scans, they showed increased bone density. It'd be very powerful. I also recommend that they come out with a nutritional approach, right? So yes, vibration balance is really good while you're doing, for example, you could do squats on a vibration platform, very good for bone health, but also nutrition, right? Make sure, hey, you're getting enough calcium and vitamin D. Quit smoking and avoid, excessive alcohol intake, because both smoking and drinking harm your bones. So try to decrease that. And then, be mindful of the type of cardio you're doing, right? If you like to swim, that's fine, but you should still do strength training, weight bearing exercise. And then you should also still be maybe add some running or jumping movements. And if you don't like to run, that's fine. You could just do some jumping drills with your strength training. So you do strength training and then do some like box jumps to help stimulate your bone. Because swimming alone is not going to build up the bone density like weight bearing or impact exercise. And then, believe it or not, one of the best kind of sports for bone health is actually gymnastics. Is one of the best bone builders. Studies show that gymnasts, even those who quit years ago, have stronger bones due to the high impact loading involved. For example, a 120-pound gymnast would experience 1,200 pounds of force doing a landing, because it's like 10 times impact loading, even just for a brief second, because as they kind of rebound off their the uneven parallel bars, that's a type of loading that drives real bone adaptation. If you got kids, get them into gymnastics. But if you're adult, if you're a bit older, that might be a bit much for you. Obviously, you stick with the traditional strength training. If you're like in your 30s or so, maybe you could take up some gymnastic strength training drills or workouts. You could also do that as part of your strength training, like when maybe one day a week you do gymnastic style strength training. It can combine, the calisthenics, jumping, some apparatuses or drills, and then do traditional strength training other days of the week if you're doing like a 3-day split. But if you're much older, again, that might be too much on you. So just, again, stick to the traditional strength training. So if you're a vet over 35 looking to stay active, strong, and avoid brittle bones, you could click the link in the description to check out my free training on running pain-free and building real strength that lasts. Because even though your service may be in the past, your strength doesn't have to be. Stay strong, stay upright, keep moving forward.